Well, in the first game out of the All-Star break, the Toronto Raptors lose an absolute heartbreaker to the Atlanta Hawks. Tony Snell does it again. 121-120 is your final. The Raptors record now drops to 17-20 on the season. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Raptors Nightcap. Randy Urban alongside Sherman Hamilton, Paul Jones, and Jack Armstrong. Sure, that's just, it feels like a season now of heartbreaking losses. What happened tonight?
Well, again, if you're the visiting team, the Atlanta Hawks, what's the goal? Is to just hang around and give yourself a chance to edge the Raptors out at home. And they were able to do that. But the dying seconds of the game, there were some difficult moments for the Raptors, but I thought they did some good things. I thought the Raptors did a good job of keeping the ball out of Trae Young's hands when the Raptors missed that final shot they took, and they forced Nate McMillan to call a timeout to set something up. The Raptors are able to match up 5-on-5 defensively. They did a good job of making sure the first option in Trae Young didn't get a look at the basket. The second option in Danilo Gallinari, they closed him up. But what happens when you take all that attention, you take away the first and the second option, the third option, the fourth option presents themselves. And that's where Tony Snell pops loose. And because the penetration was so deep and attracted so much attention, that left Tony Snell wide open, and the distance to close that shot out was way too far, and he's able to knock it down. So the Raptors did some good things, but you tip your hat to Tony Snell. He made a big shot for his team.
Three guys, Randy, as Sherm said. We called the game on the radio, and Trae Young got deep into the lane, and the pass was, it's not the first pass out of a double team, it's the second. And normally you make the easy pass out, and then the next pass is the one that the team can't catch up to. And as Sherm talked about, because the penetration was on one side and the ball went to the other side, that's a long distance to cover. And there were so many guys packed into the lane. And, I just have to feel some of that was the Raptors needed one play. They needed one play. I threw a clip up on YouTube of Jack and I. We talked about it when we do the radio. The Flintstones, Goggles Paisano, just the wheels just chipping off, just couldn't make it to the finish line. They were right there. They needed one play at either end, offensively or defensively, and it could have sealed the game. And again, I'm going to go back to something I talked about at the beginning of the year. Because the team has changed and guys are in new situations, they don't quite close it out the way they used to in the past. The experience, the chemistry, the little things are missing. And, Atlanta was the worst team in the NBA games plus or minus 3 with a minute to go. They were 2-7. They had 2 wins all year, 2-7, worst percentage, fewest wins. So you saw their reaction when they won the game. They finally came through with a win for them, but Toronto just needed one more play.
Jack, put your coaching hat back on here. What do you tell your team after something like that? You get down 19, you battle back, you go up 15, and then all of a sudden this ending happens.
2 things. I would say the first one is situational basketball. Doing the little things when they really count in terms of execution, making the right pass, taking the right shot. Just really trying to look and say, okay, let's go possession by possession and learn from a few things, good and bad. And then I think on then the defensive end, the same thing in terms of how do we, were our coverages right? Did we have defensive integrity where we needed it, particularly on the strong side? Was the help side where it was supposed to be? All those kind of things. And I think secondly, I just think you have to say to your team, you know what, guys, you fought your tails off tonight. And I love Jonesy's reference because that's my favorite Flintstones episode, Goggles Paisano. But I thought they fought their tails off. And I think they ran out of gas. I mean, and quite frankly, who'd have thunk it that Norm Powell would miss 2 free throws? It's a different game if he makes even one of those free throws. So I thought they played their hearts out tonight. They played a little tired down the stretch. And when you play a little tired, it impacts the attention to detail and it impacts the finer points of being able to really execute your game plan on both ends.
Sherm, in the second quarter, Kyle Lowry passed Chris Bosh to become the second all-time leading scorer in Raptors franchise history. And to me, it's just a perfect example of when a player puts in the work. What are your thoughts on that milestone?
Well, it's not a surprise. I mean, Kyle is doing so many things as a Raptor. He's going to climb up the franchise record books. He's going to rewrite them for the most part. And, you know, I think what you look at when you think about Kyle and what he's been able to accomplish, this is a normal guy in terms of he's not the biggest. He might not be the most athletic, might not be the fastest, but he plays so hard, so consistently. And that's why we can all relate to him. And that type of player is a player that wins games for you. So with Kyle, I don't know if we can figure out any other accolades to give him, because we talk about him at such a high level, and deservedly so. I think Kyle's going to get his biggest rewards in terms of what he means as a Raptor when he's done. You know, he's going to get everything that he deserves to get as a franchise leader and the best player and the most important player in this franchise's history. So I just think that even in a night like tonight, I mean, he has a double-double with 6 rebounds. And you think about the fact that he's trying to do everything he can to help this team win. That embodies who we've known Kyle to be his whole career as a Raptor.
Jonesy, it's really remarkable though when you look back at where he came from, right? You know,
yes.
He says himself, you know, he probably wasn't looking to stay here long term. And then, you know, you got to ride out the ups and downs, and this is another example of that.
Randy, you know, we talk about the Raptors and their great developmental ability and how they find guys and develop them. And we get stuck on the younger guys like Powell and even some of the guys they moved like Valanciunas and DeLon Wright and Jakob Poeltl, and we see what Fred has done and what Pascal has done. But Kyle's a product of that too. As you said, he came here. He didn't think he'd be here long. They sat him down. He grew. He matured here. You know, he became a father, like all of those things, and it helped his development. And if you think about it, he hit an exponential part in his curve where he was kind of improving a little bit, and then bang, it took off. And he became a leader, and a leader on the court and off the court, and guys respected him, and his play and the way he played led into that. So, you know, we talk about the development with the young guys. It was also part of it with Kyle too, and he developed here, and he developed with great skill and ability, which, as Sherm talked about, propelled him to great heights and productivity within this franchise. So you have to just look at his career and what he's done here and the whole package, and it's really, really quite remarkable.
Jack, just staying on Kyle for a little bit, because, you know, I think it's an important milestone, and, you know, the game was what it was there at the end. And just, I think people were a little bit surprised. I know I was, to see that, you know, I know that he's first in assists too, but third in rebounds was remarkable. And I just think that stands out. And it's something that every young people can look at and go, well, how does that happen? Like that, you know, that's just all effort right there.
Well, there's ability there too. Let's not discount that. He's really talented, but he has something special about him that, to me, is what makes him a cut above. Actually, 2 things: he's got a big heart, and most importantly, he's incredibly bright. And he has great anticipation. You know, like he's where the play is. He's where the play is before the play happens. He's a frame or 2 ahead. It's like a great quarterback or a guy on a power play or whatever. You know, there are certain guys that are savants and see the game in slow motion. And I just think he's always in a position where the play happens because he's smarter than most people that are out there. So to me, there's and Jonesy and Sherm can relate to this. Times are a little different now, but, you know, back in the day, we would all ride on the bus, on the second bus. And, you know, usually Kyle Lowry would come on the second bus. And the thing I used to always laugh about was that he'd immediately put on an NBA game on his phone.
Yes.
Like he is a hoops junkie. He loves it. He is so into it. So this guy breathes it. He lives it. He has a passion and a love affair with that orange ball. And there are a lot of guys that play the game, but don't love it at the same level. And I think that's what makes him really stand out. And when the push comes to shove, he has that little extra because he loves it that much more than most people.
Hey Randall, when Ed Stefanski was here as Brian Colangelo's assistant general manager and Kyle Lowry came to Toronto, Ed knows him as a Philly guy. And he said, watch how hard that little guy plays. Mm-hmm. He said, I'm going to tell you something. He's a Philly kid. He said, he is a great rebounder for his size. He may be the best rebounder, pound for pound, size for size, proportionately on this team. And a lot of people said, like, they kind of stepped back. And Ed Stefanski said, you watch. And I'm not surprised that he's third in rebounding because, Sherman, you and I talk about it all the time. Rebounding is also a measure of effort, too. And Kyle is always giving that maximum effort.
Well, if he goes 27 points a night for the rest of the way, he could pass DeMar this season. But we'll see if that happens.
Hey, don't put it past him. Don't put it past him.
Yeah. Well, they might need it. Sherman, real quick, we got about 30 seconds left. You got to regroup because the games are coming fast here. They're coming furious, and they all mean something, right?
Yeah, and the cavalry isn't coming for a little while still. So if you're the Raptors, you just got to continue to grind and not get discouraged. I mean, they've played hard. They've given themselves a chance to win, especially in this game. So now you've got to just figure out a way to get it over the line. And I think with the Eastern Conference fluctuating the way it is, they can never feel like they're going to be out of it. So that should be a positive, motivating factor as well for them to continue to grind it out.
Appreciate you guys doing this. We'll see you Saturday night. Raptors take on the Hornets, 7 p.m. Peace.
Thanks for watching. You can click to watch our last episode or to subscribe to the Toronto Raptors YouTube channel so you don't miss an episode.